Hey everyone, we're here to talk about Drag Race Holland, Season 1, Episode 2, Give Face. And I'll tell you, it is really hard to notice like shade and sarcasm and little snipes in subtitles while taking notes. This is what's killing me, is the taking notes. If I didn't have to take notes, it'd be a little bit easier. But I would tell you, this cast, shady boots. Like, I don't know why I wasn't just assuming that would be the case. What happened to my notes? Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. I printed out everyone's name here because I can barely read my notes. So this is a shady episode. I mean, now looking back, I saw a lot of it in episode 1 that I kind of missed. It kind of went over my head, or I was like, I don't know how they meant it, because you know how if you spend a lot of time around people who English is their second language, they'll say stuff that's like incredibly blunt, but it's more of a like in their native language they could finesse it more, but you lose some of the same thing happens with subtitles. You lose some of that nuance. And so I was kind of cutting everyone a break, being like, I'm not going to assume, and I got a ton of stuff wrong. Thank you to all the people from Holland or who speak the language who are able to clarify a lot of things, like that Abby, oh my God, and Evie Prue don't live in the same house. They're in the same drag house, which should have been obvious to me. Anyway, we have our very typical, even, I don't know if it's a translation issue, even down to the like, it was a real wake-up call having Room leave, which is just funny because I don't know whether, there's a lot of stuff in this episode that gave me this weird deja vu feeling because they did an identical challenge to one that we saw in the early seasons of Drag Race. But I'll get to that. Anyway, okay, I wanted to point out that Mama Queen is like a foot taller than everybody else. I don't know how I didn't notice it, but it was so glaringly obvious in the workroom. The next tallest queen comes to like here. I'm dying to know how tall, if anyone knows. I could probably Google it, but crazy so much taller. It's really obvious. They have a mini challenge. They're not going to walk in heels. They're going to walk in clogs, little wooden clogs. So they're all given blank clogs and all this stuff, and they have to decorate them. I thought there were some really nice ones. The Chelsea boy, I don't even really know. They all they go by so quick. I'm trying to take notes. My notes look like chicken scratches. I mean, they're almost completely indecipherable. I doubt you can even see that. But anyway, Chelsea boy and Envy Peru win. Envy Peru had like a little fake heel, which was kind of cute. And then they go back and forth and they pick. I can't remember who picked first because I think they were switched from how I wrote them down. Evie Peru picks Setter Jean, Megan, Patty Pam Pam, and then Chelsea Boy picked Janny, Miss Abby, Mama Queen, and then lastly Madam Madness was not picked. That's the bearded queen, if that's how you remember them. Then they got to pick their team, and there's a little thing, cut away about. I totally understand. There's only 9 of them. I would say there's 9 of them. You're picked from the whole country, so you've got to kind of pick out. You weren't last. You were 9th. Does that make sense? But I totally get it, especially if you've had that experience of being picked last. It's like a visceral response. You're like, I've been here before. That kind of thing where you just have this reaction even if you logically don't know. Kind of upset, talks about being bullied and being left out. And I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling. Anyway, they're broken into teams. Those are the teams. They're going to do a funny workout video, which you remember was, I can't remember which season it was. I think it must have been season 2. Of the U.S. version. All I remember is Alexis Mateo and stuff, anyway, so they had the funny workout video. We see them do it. Madam Madness and Jackie are fighting, and just so you know, if you haven't watched this, Jackie, a little spicy, has a lot of opinions, does not seem to mind sharing them, so it's very, very. And I can't really tell you if it's hilarious or catty or mean or honest, because this is where the subtitles kind of let me down. I'll just say a lot is being said. and a lot is being said in the confessionals, and a lot, I can't tell if it's a Bob the drag queen or Bianca Del Rio, like, so good, or whether it's just kind of maybe like a Fifi O'Hara kind of dig. I don't really know. If you speak the native language and you can give me a little bit more about what's going on, I'll tell you the subtitles make it seem like she kind of has a problem with everyone. That's kind of how I'll just say the subtitles are working. But I'll say the deja vu watching the exercise video, maybe because it's so specific, it was like this sense of like, I feel like I've seen this before. But anyway, it was very funny. This is what's really interesting. They had a local Dutch exercise lady named Olga who came, and they seemed to absolutely love it. They thought it was hilarious. I thought it was cute too. I was so busy taking notes, I really couldn't be in the moment. It is a lot of work to take notes while doing subtitles, because normally I can listen and take notes. Cannot do that with subtitles. Anyway, one of the gals, I don't even know who, had a breastplate. I didn't know that they made breastplates with nipples, but they, because you normally don't see it, and this was like out. The whole thing was just full on, you know, which being American sensibility was a little, I wasn't offended at all, but I was just kind of surprised that she didn't like even attempt to half cover them. Like a little bit like, oh, they slipped, you know. It was just sort of like, nope, they're just out, and enjoy them. Anyway, I will say Madam Madness did boy drag for this, which has sort of, if you've watched a lot of Drag Race, the theme on this has slowly evolved. So we saw, I believe it was Alaska who did boy drag for something's barnyard thing, and kind of was like, you're not in drag. And he's like, well, I'm in boy drag. It's like, but you're not in drag. But then I think with the Snatch Games, bringing in more and more people doing male character, they've kind of accepted that specifically in certain acting challenges, you can get away with it. But what was very interesting to me is that we saw the filming of the exercise video, and that is the last we heard of it. I mean, they referenced it occasionally, but usually I feel like with the US version, they do like a, hey, this was our favorite team. These were the standouts specifically in the acting challenge. And I felt, and we discussed this in Canada, which is we felt like in Canada, it was all about the runway. And then the acting challenge was kind of just gonna move the dial a little bit. Like, you three are in the bottom, but you were the funniest, which is exactly what they said. But you were the funniest in the acting challenge, so we're gonna give you a pass. Whereas I feel like in the US, they're more likely to do the reverse, which is, this is how we feel about the acting challenge. Now, from those of you who we felt were the worst in the acting challenge, we're going to use the runway. If you feel differently about that, let me know. That was my impression of how I got this. So now they go to the runway, which is face, face, face. They're going to do like some sort of painted face and outfit. It's meant to be more thematic. I thought it was kind of funny because Envy came over to Madam Madness and was like, oh, are you feeling okay? And she's like, yeah, you know, I understand how it is. Someone has to be picked last. But, you know, it just reminds me when I was bullied. And Envy proves a little bit like, yeah, I understand. And then it cuts to interview, and Envy proves like, yeah, we were all bullied. Get over it. Don't be a victim. And I was like, whoa, I don't know whether they like told him like go over and ask him about it, and then he's like, okay, I guess I'll do that. I don't know, I just found it a little jarring. It's like, wow, okay. And then there's a missing corset, which was Abby's missing corset, and someone's like, well, maybe someone, you know, tidied it up and moved it. She's like, I'm the only extra small here. And it was this whole thing, and then Madam Madness shows up and is like, here, I found it around the corner, which I was like, that was a little bit too, if you ever watch The Office, there's an episode where they have a Christmas party and Angela steals the cord to the karaoke machine so that no one can play. And then when they invite her to the party, she's like, oh, I found this behind something in a plant. It felt very much like that moment. But no one else seemed to be like, oh, that's kind of weird. So maybe I mean, they bring so much stuff. I don't know how they find anything. And Abby seems very convinced that someone moved the corset and hid it from her. Janny was very much like, well, you should look for stuff before you get complained. like I said, I'm barely keeping up with the storyline, so I can't tell. I don't have a side in this because I could barely keep up with who was doing this. Okay, so Chelsea Boy, Mama Queen, and Jenny Jackie were all safe. Chelsea Boy, for your info, you can look at the pictures, of course, online or on Instagram. It's a great one. Had, oh boy, these are some pretty hard to read notes. Contour drench. Oh, there's, okay, so Chelsea Boy had this big trench coat. I kept expecting kind of like half cartoon. It reminded me of the Take On Me video where it's like super like monochromatic and then colored over here. This big shoulder trench coat. And because of how the trench coat was, I kind of thought it was going to be a reveal, but it wasn't. Mama Queen did, find my notes, it was like this, you know, chakra, multicolored rainbow kind of thing. My first thought was Bjork. That was my first thought. And then Janie Fox did an alien, I believe. Janie Fox. Okay, Janie Jackie did an alien sort of fantasy look, all blue and everything. So they were safe. And then we had, I was a little confused because I thought they had said, well, anyway, Cedar Jean did like a club kick look, all these little spikes, sort of a matte blacky gray thing, very, very different. So Cedar Jean is a comedy queen, does kind of the funny lips, tends to look a little like an older, funny woman, and this is a club kid look, really out there, which they praised. They said it was so great to see right off the bat sort of this comedy queen do something really different. They loved it. They also thought it was really funny. She did like an older lady in the, so like occasionally they mentioned the exercise video, but we were literally, I would say 80% through judging before they mentioned the exercise video. And I was like, oh, that's right, there was a main challenge. And we never saw like the finished product. We just saw the filming. If someone is in Holland, tell me, do you guys see the same 52-minute version that we do? Do you see a longer version? Did it look, am I the only one here who like wonders what happened to the main challenges? Anyway, and the other top was Peru, who did a pop art inspired, like, so the pop art, like the bright single colors with like the heavy black outlining and a very kind of conceptual wig with black, and so it very much looks like you could take a picture and it was a cartoon. I really like it. So those were our tops. I actually had thought they were saying that Abby was in the top, but apparently not. Abby did this rainbow look, and it just very much looked like, it didn't look like it was painted on. It did look like this. Was in the bottom, a rainbow look. Madam Madness did the the gold kiss inspired, like, not the painting, not the band. And they didn't like the color at all. Megan did like an ice cream colored one. No hourglass, they didn't like it. Patty did a starry night, which they said they nailed it exactly, which is when you saw it first, you're like, oh, that's a really cool look. And then you saw everyone's like super duper conceptual, and you go, oh yeah, that wasn't nearly up with everyone else. So the winner was Envy Peru, very good one. Go look it up on Instagram. And then they go, so anyway, they go back, and this is before they do that, and Janie Jackie had a lot to say to a lot of people. Really ripped into Abby, and I'm not sure why. Miss Abby, oh my God. And there was a lot of voices. I'll say this is where I really missed who was talking and who was on what side, but there was a lot of unasked for opinions flying around about who should feel what and where, and I was like, this is the second episode, man. This is some intense stuff. This is worth a rewatch. I could use transcripts if anyone can give me transcripts so I can see who everyone said, because sometimes you can't tell really from the subtitles who's talking. I like them all to wear name tags and all that. So in the end, Madam Madness and Patty Pam Pam lip sync to Katy Perry Roar. They have really pretty big songs. I wonder what their licensing budget is over there. Anyway, and then Patty Pam Pam goes home. So that's kind of a bummer. So there you go. That was the episode. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me everything. Everything I got wrong as well. So thanks guys, I'll see you next week.